if you want to share your current mood or atmosphere of the day in the chat, feel free to do so. Or if you want to speak out loud, you can also do that. I myself am feeling super excited. And thanks, Ross, for sharing already. You're taking beautiful initiative.
Okay, I think we will slowly get started. Welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. And this is the opening event of Burning Questions 2022. And we have quite many that are here today. Yes, please try to remember to keep yourself on mute. And we have an exciting program in front of us now for the next hour. And I would like to inform you that this will be recorded. So please, if you don't feel comfortable being recorded, you can turn your camera off during the event. My name is Rebecca, and I will be your host today. I am an intercultural teacher education student at the University of Oulu. Okay, but let's get started. Some of you might be familiar what Burning Question is, and some of you might not be familiar. So I would like to introduce my co-organizer, Elina, to talk a bit about Burning Questions and what we do.
Thank you, Rebecca. My name is Elina Vanha-Aho, as Rebecca hinted at, and I'm one of the 5 event leaders that have been pushing forward this team of student organizers this year. I'm a 4th year student from the Intercultural Teacher Education Program from the University of Oulu, with a surprise there. And this is my 2nd year of working with BQ. And it's my 3rd year as a participant. So you can tell that I'm here to stay, at least as long as I can. I'm really happy to be here with you today, with everyone who has made time for this opening. And I'm also very, very excited to talk a little about where we find ourselves today, other than in front of the screens that let us come together here. And that's actually my first point. This is the 2nd year BQ is organized completely online due to the pandemic, which reflects the overall situation of the higher education. And I myself have quite a few burning questions about that. I think a couple of you may share those. I'm seeing lots of participants who have joined us before, maybe even every time BQ has been organized. And some of you may notice differences in the event structure compared to last year. Number one is that we wanted to this year focus on everyone joining as participants. And that's why we have highlighted the interaction through the workshops between all participants. Second is that this is an event week. We have spread out the BQ sessions over a longer period of time to make this more sustainable, no Zoom fatigue, and more accessible, because it lets us schedule something else on the same days as we are doing BQ as well. And third, following the footsteps of the first BQ in 2019, we haven't chosen a single theme because one didn't naturally emerge when we were gathering burning questions. And now, especially for those who are not so familiar with BQ and maybe with us for the first time, welcome. What is burning questions? The story began in 2018 when a group of students having a discussion grew into an event under the Faculty of Education in the University of Oulu. This event was held in early 2019, and we will hear more from a member of that first edition of BQ soon. So I'm not spoiling everything. But throughout these 4 years, BQ has grown and it has shifted and it has had different centers, but it has always stayed student-led and volunteer-powered. And it's important to us that every organizer has a voice in the creation process of the event, and that we act in a democratic way when making choices and decisions in the creation process. It's a platform for interaction where we get to question our fundamental assumptions about education. That includes breaking down hierarchies and questioning the status quo, challenging it, that is present in education, and how we try to do that here in BQ is by creating an event that is not a conference, but it includes research-backed discussion and it's interdisciplinary. You don't need to be a certain kind of professional to join. If you have an interest and passion in the topic, you're welcome. To go a little bit deeper in the idea of burning questions, what we mean by burning, we mean something that is burning on our minds, not literally, something asked out of passion, something asked out of a need to ask. We want to gather and discuss burning questions. The idea is not to prioritize providing answers, because something that I learned last year myself is that often we don't even need a single solution, and rushing for answers may sometimes stop us from asking the right questions. The workshops this year will delve into some burning questions, but let's not leave it at that. We hope to encourage everyone to ask your own burning questions. And you will have a chance to share yours in this opening event as well. We want you to build connections with other participants and find new ways of thinking together. And at this point, I would like to share that what keeps me with BQ, because you must know that there's something really keeping me here. It is that BQ is always pushing me forward. It's pushing my thinking to a new level, and it's something that I hope all of you can echo after this week. So I hope that we all will have a chance to listen, the courage to ask, and the space to share this experience with all other participants. So thank you everybody for being here. And now if you have more questions about BQ, you can head on to our website at burningq.com, or you can ask in the chat, or you can check out our Instagram or Twitter account from earlier years to learn a bit more about what we've been doing, what have we been discussing, because there's so much to say that I could go on all day.
Thank you, Elina, for that nice presentation of burning questions and for your nice words about it and your personal experiences. It's very nice to hear that you keep coming back to burning questions also. That even though it's the same event, it reinvents itself every year and it keeps interest up. But we also wonder maybe sometimes how, because Elina mentioned that burning questions came to light in 2018, but how did the event actually start happening and why? And therefore we have invited Sharanya Menon to speak today. And Sharanya was one of the first members of the first edition of Burning Questions. And Sharanya is an alumnus from Education and Globalization Master's Program. And now she currently works as a teacher at the Faculty of Education here. And she is also a PhD student at the Deakin University in Australia. And Sharanya is currently interested in issues of equity, decoloniality, and global education reforms in the field of teacher education. So I give you the word. Welcome, Sharanya.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and good morning, everyone. It's really nice to be here. I didn't picture myself talking at the 4th edition of Burning Questions when I was first organizing it with my team members back in 2018 and 2019. So thank you for inviting me and giving me the space to share a little bit about like why we started Burning Questions in the first place. So as Elena said, so BQ started during a pub conversation in 2018. So it was that sort of informal conversation between two of my co-founders, I would say, or members, Will and Joffy, who were sitting and having a couple of beers after participating in an event that we were in when we were in our first year of master's studies. So in my first year of master's studies, which was in 2018 spring, we were part of this Global Challenges workshop where the students from the international master's programs, the education and globalization program, and the learning, education and technology program, we were kind of put together in small groups. And we also had visiting students from the Center for Research and Interdisciplinarity based in Paris. So they were visiting University of Oulu. So we were all mixed together in like small groups, and we were given certain topics to research on for 2 days. And at the end of 2 days, we had to come up with a presentation. So I remember like my group had the topic global citizenship education. So for 2 days, the four of us had to read, think about how we would present it. And at the end of the second day, you know, we had a bunch of presentations. Presentations happened, the event ended, and all of us were kind of left feeling very incomplete without really having a space to reflect or debrief about like what really happened, because there were a wide range of issues that we discussed, from like gender to global citizenship to mental health and a whole bunch of things which, you know, are quite topical and common in the field. But we didn't really get a space to, you know, think about what we thought about somebody else's presentation, or sit and think about what worked or what did not work. So yeah, and also the students from Paris, they wanted to hang out with the students from Oulu, but since there wasn't sort of any formal way in which that was created, that didn't really naturally happen. And they were just, you know, they also left without having a proper sort of send off. So it kind of left us feeling like, how, you know, how else, if we were in charge of doing something like this, how would we kind of do it? And so it was around the time that, so we started our master's program around the time when Professor Elena Mletamaki had joined the program, the faculty. And she, after the event, told us, you know, like, this year I organized this, next year I want this to be completely like, you know, done by you all. So so that you know, that was, I guess, the starting point of like Burning Questions. So we had to really think about, if we had to do it by ourselves, what is it that we want to do? So I think the event that we participated in 2018 was a prototype of what we did not want to do. So I guess, you know, that was sort of like the initial or the starting point. And so having that in mind, we thought about what is it exactly that we want to do. Like when we think of, you know, bringing people together, you know, talking about like important issues in education, what is it that we want to create? So I noted down like a list of sort of core values, which I have been thinking about, and also what we discussed together as a group back in 2018 and 2019. So number one was, we wanted to create an event which would foster curiosity, criticality, and reflexivity. So these are things which is not to say that, you know, like we are not doing in like other spaces or areas, but we really wanted an event kind of solely focusing on this. Secondly, we, you know, as an event, we did not really know where we were headed. So there was a whole lot of trust, like that we had to trust the process, we had to trust each other, and we had to trust, like, the purpose that we are in this together. And there was a lot of pushback in terms of what exactly are you trying to do, like, how is this like different from like any other sort of conference, like, like, but I think, and also convincing people that, why we should be like talking about this and coming together. So I guess trust and trusting the process was another one of the core values of BQ. And third, pushing back against what we've known as standard ways of engaging in the educational space, which is not to say that we do away with everything that we are doing currently, but what are the ways in which we can create fissures? What are the ways in which we can kind of, slowly disrupt things? And given the university space does not provide that much of an opportunity to create like a whole lot of like, overhaul of the entire system or the structure. But given the fact that we are at the university, what is it that we can do to push for, changes in our own sort of ways? So I guess BQ gave us a platform for that. And for me personally, like representation of non-Western voices, how do we bring in that into the conversation? And that's something that, even though the master's program that I was part of kind of talks about that wasn't really there. So I really wanted this space to bring in those voices that are not really heard in educational sort of discussions. And as Elena and Rebecca mentioned earlier, like the idea of having a completely student-led event, breaking the hierarchy between that exists between like teachers and students. I'll get back to our reflections on if we did that or not in 2018, but this was one of the goals or ideas. And finally, like we really wanted an event just talking about the fundamental assumptions of education. So is education fit for its purpose? And how are we understanding these different challenges that exist in education around the world? So, so those were some of the values that we were working with. Did we manage to achieve them in the first edition of BQ? I would say partly yes, and partly no. For example, I can give you an example of like some of the workshops we had in the first edition of BQ, where we had used Socratic dialogue circles to engage in conversations around like certain topics. And something as simple as sitting in a classroom in a university in a circle facing each other changed the dynamic of the discussion. Not only just like the physical act of sitting around in a circle, but also like the nature of like, the discussion, where you are not looking for answers per se, but like based on the responses, you're questioning and kind of getting deeper into the issue rather than just looking for like a straightforward like solution to like a big issue. And somebody mentioned already that a lot of the issues that we are going to be discussing in the next couple of days are not things that can be resolved by doing 1, 2, 3 things. There are so many things and there are so many layers to these issues that we can't really like, find a simple solution. So something like that, it's not that, we came up with something extraordinary, but like just, engaging in that sort of activity changed the discussions and brought, like it made it even more interesting. But in terms of like the dynamic between like breaking the hierarchy, so in the first edition, and I guess also in the second edition, we had like categorized the participants into student participants and expert participants. And most of the workshops in the first edition were led by experts, because back in the day, we weren't really sure if as students, we had the knowledge or the skill sets to lead a workshop independently. And on reflection, we realized that, even though we were quite ambitious and wanted to like do certain things, we had in some ways reinforced that hierarchy in the event itself. And that sort of continued in the second version as well. So that is something that we realized only after sort of reflection. So what I'm sort of trying to say, and also in terms of representation, I guess we wanted to include more voices, but then how do we ensure that we are including more voices without it being like some sort of token representation? Or we need this one person from the global south, or we need this one person who is like, not from like the majority. Just including that person in like a panel discussion or in a workshop does not really, address the issue of representation or representational politics in education. So those were the kind of things that we realized after the event. So what my point really here is that BQ as an event, when we started it, we felt like, we were quite ambitious. We had all these like great ideas and, a bunch of people coming together and they're like, we want to create change. But when it came to implementation and like doing the event, there were so many things that we realized that did not go as well as we wanted it to, or there are so many things that we could have done better. And it's so nice to see how over the years, like the event is changing form, and what people like, people like you all, when you're putting this together, you're not holding BQ to like this sort of brand that needs to be replicated every single year, but you're bringing in what you're interested in and changing the form and making it yours. So I guess that is my hope for BQ, that it doesn't become that this one thing that 3 or 4 people back in 2018 decided to start it and it continues on, because it needs to continue on. But instead, it's something that drives you. It's something that you find meaningful and you wish to continue. And as you said, student-led and voluntary, like you want to continue it because it makes some sort of sense to you. So I think the heart of BQ is like critical thinking and reflectivity. And also when we started the event, we were also thinking of making it transdisciplinary. How do we include like people from like different disciplines outside of education to engage in these conversations? And I think that is like a space that we definitely need to improve, not only in BQ, but also broadly, because a lot of our educational conversations happen in these little researcher practitioner bubbles. Like people who are interested in specific topics talk to each other. So it's kind of like this group think that we are kind of continuing. But how do we take these conversations outside these spaces and continue? And as a person, I sometimes think, I used to think that critical thinking and reflection, it's frustrating because after a point, like there's no action component to it. But I came across a quote by Bell Hooks recently, and I'm going to read that out because that served as it gave me something to think about. So she talks about thinking is an action. For all aspiring individual, thoughts are the laboratory where one goes to pose questions and find answers, and the place where visions of theory and praxis come together. The heartbeat of critical thinking is the longing to know, to understand how life works. Children are organically predisposed to be critical thinkers. Across the boundaries of race, class, gender, and circumstance, children come into the world of wonder and language, consumed with a desire for knowledge. Sometimes they are so eager for knowledge that they become relentless interrogators, demanding. So I hope that you all ask very many questions this week, get to know people informally during the coffee chats, and enjoy the process, because it's never going to be perfect. But I hope you not strive to be perfect or make any of the things. So I think perfection is, I guess, a form of it really doesn't lead us anywhere. So those are my very scattered thoughts about burning questions, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sharanya, for those inspiring words and nice information about burning questions. And I do think that many of us and many of you have kind of felt the spark now inside of you to for this week and for what's to come this week. And to highlight what Sharanya said about burning questions, today is the International Day of Education, actually, and the 24th of January. And this year's theme is changing course and transforming education, which is truly fitting to what we are doing right here today and during this whole week. But to continue, we're thinking a bit that we would like to hear how the burning question spirit feels and how one could reflect upon it. And for that, we actually have Samia today that will read a poem for us that she wrote all by herself.
Hi, my name is Samia, and I am also studying intercultural teacher education here at the University of Oulu. And I'm really excited to be a part of this event. This is my second time being a part of the Burning Questions. And I'm also super excited for all you participants to be a part of this experience. And talking about experiences, today I will be reading a poem called The Human Experience. So I hope you enjoy it. Hoya. That was the first word I uttered as a child. It was the first word that held the most meaning in my life. Hoya means mother in Somali. And for me, mother was a special figure embedded in all of my memories like no other. Through her eyes, I saw her admiration to learn, trying to juggle school while still being a mother and being new to the country. It was challenging, but I could see she put her heart into it fully. It was the same admiration that sparked a thirst for knowledge within me quite quickly. I let my curiosity foster, and then I let the world be my oyster. As children, we are little sponges, eager to soak in all that interests us, and that's exactly what I did. As a child, I'm learning so many things. I'm learning the importance of kindness, the power of love, of compassion, of understanding. I'm learning what healthy communication looks like. I'm learning how to hold a book. I'm learning how to read a book. Soon, I'm learning how books have the gift of giving one a look into different cultures, perspectives, and different walks of life. As a child, I'm learning that the act of learning should be a fun one. It should be a joyful one, for I associated my learning with having fun. As a child, I'm learning to ask more questions. I'm learning asking questions gradually. It's something I want to do because I want to tap into the uniqueness of the world and humanity. Fast forward, and I'm now a teen, learning that my desire to learn and other people's desires to learn has left us at a crossroads, admiring each other's vibrant lives and sharing knowledge and skills with each other. It's this sharing of knowledge and skills that teaches us that we are all part of the human experience, helping to shape each other into our greatest selves. I'm learning that friendships at school are important to me because it is within these same friendships that I'm able to share my deepest dreams and vastness to see. As a teen, I'm learning that it is a privilege in itself to have an education, to be able to be given a tool for social mobility, because education has always had a way of being the key to abundant possibilities, giving us the ability to shape our future and our realities. A tool that cultivates itself into acquired knowledge and skills and has the power to shape us socially, emotionally, and intellectually. Fast forward, and its fruits can be a catalyst in helping us interact with this world positively. Adulthood has arrived, and now I'm learning my role as a citizen of the world. I'm learning to take care of the earth. I'm learning to take care of the elderly. I'm learning to take care of the less fortunate. But most importantly, I'm learning in adulthood that it is about unlearning as much as it is about unlearning as much as it is about learning. And it's about questioning our old systems and our ways of knowing, because societies are like dynamic bodies of water that are constantly changing, continuously evolving, wading through new areas of thinking, learning, envisioning. I'm learning that there is no limit to our envisioning. It's our envisioning that pays off and allows people to tap into their greatest selves and take off, demonstrating the effectiveness of our creativity and what we're actually made of. Just like you, I'm learning every day, and I'm unlearning every day. Maybe it's because I get to learn about the world this way, or maybe it's because my mother's persistence to learn is still ingrained in my mind to this day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samia. Let's send Samia hearts and applause from Zoom. That was really great, Samia. Thank you for writing it and for reading it to us today. It really sparked emotions and happiness in me at least. So thank you for that. But now you have all been listening quite much to us, and after Elina and Sharanya and Samia's speeches we were thinking that we would actually put you into breakout rooms where you will get the chance to start discussing your own burning questions or what current issues you are interested in education today. And we hope that the time before this has sparked some thoughts into you. But we were thinking that we would send you for about 10 minutes into these breakout rooms, and then we would come back to the main session. So the breakout rooms are now open. Please join and let's start.
Should we join as well?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, gotcha.
Hi guys, I have class. Is it okay if I go to class real quick now?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Samia.
And thank you so much guys for listening. And also Elena texted something about maybe sharing the poem in text form. So do I just, I mean, it's on Slack, but is there a particular platform I should share it on?
We could maybe put it on the website if you want to. It is in the Slack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the Slack.
Yeah. So either if someone is a tech team that can put it up on the website, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too, Samia. Are we joining also, Natsuha, or are we chilling?
You can if you want, or we can talk about burning questions here too.
What did you mean? We can talk about burning questions. Us too?
I mean, our burning questions here. Yeah. Little one, can you pause the recording just for a sec?
We have everyone. Do we? Yes. Okay. I hope that you had fruitful discussions. I joined one room and we started getting into it. But throughout the week, you will actually have the possibility to also share your burning questions more than you just did here, because this was just the taste of what's to come. And to introduce that, I would give the hand to Onesh.
Thank you, Rebecca. So hi, everyone. This is Annesha. I'm studying education and globalization at the University of Oulu. So we have created a virtual whiteboard for you to write down your burning questions. I'm putting the link on the chat, and also I'm sharing my screen for you to see. So this is a Jamboard, although it's the virtual whiteboard. So if you haven't used a Jamboard before, no worries, let me guide you. You can choose the options from the left side, like there's a sticky note, you can write here and then save, that will appear on the whiteboard. And you can also add texts or circles, whatever you like. And this whiteboard will be available throughout the whole week of the event. So if you miss something, you can always come back and do so. And don't forget to add your burning question, because every burning question matters. So we would appreciate all of your burning questions if you could write them in this Jamboard that you all had discussed before in the breakout rooms. So let's add our burning questions here now. Thank you.
Thank you, Onesha, for the introduction of the virtual whiteboard. And as she said, this will be open the whole week. So just go in there and write your thoughts and your burning questions that come out throughout the workshops or the coffee chats. Yes, but to continue a bit, hopefully you have all registered for as many workshops as possible. But to further give you a bit of spark your interest into these workshops, we have actually invited the workshop leaders to say a few words about their workshops. So I would first like to introduce Alex, who speaks for his workshop today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Chepregi. For a change, I'm also a student of the University of Oulu, studying intercultural education as well. My friend Tuba and I will be leading a workshop on value conflicts in education, which is kind of neat because in our breakout room just now, I think we were getting at such questions. But basically, the idea is that in any educational settings, the different stakeholders bring different sets of values. You know, they prioritize different things. They hold different things important. What happens then? And especially what happens when conflicts of these values emerge. So that's what we'll be talking about today and also on Wednesday. And I hope if you're interested, then the schedule will fit you and you'll be able to join.
Thank you, Alex, for that brief introduction of your workshop. And I have attended your pre-run-throughs, and I can agree that it will be an interesting and fruitful workshop. Yes, here you have a bit of an overlook of the different workshops. And as Alex said, his is the first on value conflicts in education. And the next one we have, how can arts be useful to help refugees integrate into schools? And for that, we have a speaker too. Let's see if I can find.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were thinking about why this is a burning question for us. And the conclusion that we got is that we are firm believers that education and arts are the answer to a lot of our current problems, but that they are often overseen. Many people see the arts as something elitist and distant and inaccessible, but we are convinced that the arts should be a tool for everyone to communicate and express themselves. Because arts, they can help us connect on an emotional level like no other thing can do. After all, we are all artists, so we are willing to explore the links between arts and education and the impacts that they can generate. One of the current problems that we think that arts can contribute to solving is the refugee integration issue, which is a hot topic due to the migration crisis nowadays. And so we are interested in investigating how arts have the power to create links between people from different backgrounds to build a more inclusive environment in the school. So if you can attend, it will be great to have you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. And I do wish that you also attend this workshop, because this is also a good one. They're all super good. And the next one we would like to invite, space utilization and socialization in learning. I think we have Sugandha here.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I am Sugandha, and I am also a student of education and globalization. And this week, I'll be conducting a workshop with my friends and co-leads, Nuria and Meg. So the idea emerged with our own observations and interactions when we came to Oulu, the University of Oulu, which was a very unique learning space for all of us. And the more we talked about our observations in our previous educational journeys about playgrounds, how there was a gender difference, and the more we talked, we realized there was a lot of similarities and dissimilarities in our experiences. So we wanted to see how physical spaces affect or make up a learning environment, and how are we socialized to utilize them differently. So hope to see you on 25th and the 28th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sugandha. The next one, why are we always tired? A good question. And for that, we have Catherine here today.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Catherine McGovern. I'm also a student in education and globalization. And as Rebecca said, our workshop is called Why Are We Always Tired? And I'm leading it with two friends, Hugh Young and Bhumika, who are in ITE and education and globalization as well. And our question, I think, is relevant to many of us, and it is related to the concept of burnout, which has been an important, concept for years, but especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, has become more and more of a topical issue and topical question these days. So based on our research, we found some new perspectives and new findings on burnout, and as well as how to manage burnout, that we wanted to share with everyone. And we also hope that these findings would lead to some new burning questions for everyone. So we hope to see you all on Tuesday and Thursday.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And for our last but not least workshop, we have teaching intercultural skills and promoting multiculturalism in schools. And for that, we have Janine here today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janine and my partner is Megumi. We're both international students with the Education and Globalization Master's Program. During our studies, we've touched on the topic of multiculturalism and intercultural skills, which got us interested in learning more about the topic. And because of our own backgrounds, living in different areas or coming from multicultural backgrounds ourselves, and seeing, the current events going on in the world and the move and wanting to move more towards inclusivity in schools and changing curriculums, we wanted to learn more about this topic and how we can expose and familiarize students with other cultures while practicing culturally responsive teaching and developing intercultural skills to help create a more welcoming learning and social environment. And we're excited to discuss this topic with participants. And for those who signed up, we'll see you there.
Thank you so much, Janine. So yes, these are the workshops that you will be able to attend throughout the week, and hopefully you have registered for as many as possible. As you might saw in the schedule that they do happen twice a week, so you have possibility to go at least once to these all. Yes, and also throughout the week we will have coffee chats, and these coffee chats are they are not facilitated. So these are open spaces for you to come and discuss different issues and different burning questions outside of the kind of workshop spaces. And this is also a place where you can bring, if you spark any more burning questions during the workshops, for example. Although all the workshops do have debriefing moments also. But these coffee chats, you do not actually have to register for these. You could have entered that you were interested to come, but it is free to come to these coffee chats. And for example, today, the first coffee chat will happen at 5 o'clock, so at 17 Finnish time. And on Friday, we have a bit of a special one or a different one. And it's kind of a collaborative conversation where you will be able to conversate with representatives from GINTL, or it's called the Global Innovation Network for Teaching and Learning. So we will have representatives there and you will be able to conversate and listen to them and discuss with them also. So you are much welcome to that. Yes.
Can I add something about that?
Of course.
The title of the Friday session is From Questions to Actions. And from last year's feedback, we got the idea that quite a few of you were wondering where to go from all the discussions we were having. And this event on Friday is something orienting us towards the actions. Hope to see you there.
Thank you so much, Elena, for adding that. Yes, I think we are moving towards the end of our program for this opening event. Please remember to follow us on our social media channels, as Lena mentioned also in the beginning. And if you do face any issues or any troubles during the week, you can contact us through the website. There is a chat function and you can contact us there throughout the week. And of course, you can talk to your workshop leaders if you are inside the workshop. Yes, I am looking forward to see you all throughout the week here. And thank you so much for coming to this opening event and for signing up to Burning Questions 2022. And that completes our opening event.